Good morning, everybody. What's this? Day 4, isn't it? Yeah, day 4 today. We're gonna do some arms and some shoulders. I'm gonna start with delts because obviously this exercise is very close to kind of like free weight movements. It's an overhead press, so it is a free weight movement, and it does require a lot of energy and effort versus biceps and triceps that require a bit less. So we're gonna start with the heavy stuff first, as per usual. Now, here's the setup here. We're gonna do some overhead presses. I have 100 kilos on. I'm pretty confident I can lift that because the last warm-up set that I did was like 90 kilos and I could do reps. So 100 kilos for reps. We'll see how that goes. I'm also seated, so that doesn't make things a lot easier, but what does make things a lot easier are the safeties, because this exercise you're supposed to kind of like lift it and then bring it on the way down. And then on the way down is actually going to touch the safeties. It's supposed to. It's not even a soft pose. You're literally just dumping the weight down, so it takes away the resistance from the shoulders, and then you pull up, and then you push up again, rather. So I used to do that a lot earlier in kind of like a few years ago. I really like that exercise because it does allow you to move a lot of weight, especially since the weight is getting re-racked every now and again. Well, in every rep, to be precise. So it's one of them. Now, whether or not I can actually do 100, we're gonna find out, because it's a bit of a lot of weight. Do you know what I mean? If I was standing, that would have been a little bit easier, because then you can seat a little bit on the way up to get the weight up. But we can't really seat here. So, I mean, unless you're counting this as a seat, then we can. But again, we're just gonna have to go down the trend of lifting like an ego lifter, and the point is to lift as heavy as possible. So this setup really helped me to lift very heavy in the past. And as I said, I just did 90 kilos. So even if I can't do 100, I'm gonna be happy with where I'm at with 90 kilos for reps. I'm confident I can do a few reps with 100. I just don't know to what degree we can do reps, as in a fair amount of reps, you know what I mean? So let's start the first set, see how it goes, and then most likely go back down in weight, because 100 is quite a lot for reps. You know, I always worry a little bit when in all of these 4 days when I was doing ego lifting, I was a bit worried about injuries and stuff. And you should, when you have a lot of weight, it's just, you really should be worrying about getting hurt. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. I mean, I have the second one. 90 felt good. Not easy, but it felt good. Do you know what I mean? So let's start the first one and see where we're at. Okay. 4. Those were 4 clean ones, I'm not gonna lie, I kinda like that. We need to get back down because I usually don't do that many reps, but I wanted to see whether or not I can actually do 100 reps. It's an experience, isn't it? And I have to say, I have to give this to me. I'm stronger now than I've ever been, because I could never move 100 on this exercise, ever. So I could always do, I think the most I've done was 82.5. For a few more reps, but it was still 82.5. It was a very big difference from 100, isn't it? So, yeah. Again, for those who might be wondering, I have 3 10s, because obviously I warmed up my weights at this. I didn't just slam 20 then I started doing overhead presses. That's not very smart. So I have 3 10s and then 2 5s. So that's 100. 20, 20, 40, 40 equals 80, plus the bar, 100. So that's, I really like that. That makes you feel like a man. Unfortunately, for hypertrophy purposes, overhead presses are not a very good exercise for muscle growth. They're a very good exercise for strength, not really for muscle growth. But it is what it is. Look, I'm gonna go back down to 90. I'm just gonna take the 5s off. Well, 1 5 and 1 5, so 2 5s off. So we're back down to 90. And I'm gonna rep that one out for how many? 6 or 7, 8 reps. I want to do 8 ideally, because if I can't do 8, then it's just a bit too low for compared to what I used to do, right? So, and still for what I do. So let's get the 5s off and start lifting some heavy ass weight. You know, guys, I want to get something off my chest before we do the second set here, because I just did 4 reps, 4.5, let's call it, something like that, right? There are a lot of people now that I see on Instagram that are popping on my feed, and they're saying, they're trainers, and they're saying that 4 to 6 reps is the ideal rep range for optimal growth for hypertrophy. They couldn't be more wrong. I don't know where that comes from, especially 4 reps. 4 reps per set for hypertrophy, it's just like, how many sets are you doing? Like 10? Because if you're doing 3 or 4 sets per exercise, that's just way too little a volume to be hitting hypertrophy. And I felt that here because I just moved 100 kilos overhead press for about 4 base reps. And my shoulders are like, so they're like, I feel literally no accumulation of lactic acid. It feels like they've done nothing, which is ridiculous. But obviously there was a lot of grinding, so I know that my CNS was working overtime. So my central nervous system was working overtime to lift that much weight, because each rep is such a struggle. And I just don't understand where these people are coming from, because 4 reps, 6, I could, there is a conversation to be made. But 4 reps for hypertrophy, especially for those smaller muscle groups, how? And I mean, I shouldn't really be asking that, because I've seen their profiles and they're all tiny. They're strong, they're very strong athletes, but they're small in comparison to what they could have been if they were doing proper hypertrophy. And you know, then you're gonna have to go down the path of asking, why is every single bodybuilder in the history of the sport, including today, doesn't train with 4 to 6 reps? They all train with higher rep ranges, and usually their answer is something stupid like, oh, they're on steroids. It's like steroids has nothing to do with what's best for muscle growth in terms of training. Steroids only amplify your training. They don't make or break. So it's just like, if you're these people, 4 reps per set, that's strength training. Because they fail to realize that there is a difference between training for strength and training for size. And the two are close correlated. So if you are going to train for size, by definition, off the back of that, you're going to become stronger, like I have, because I wanted to say this. I just moved 100 kilos. I've been doing hypertrophy 8 to 16 reps per set for the past like year or so. You've all seen the videos. And I'm stronger as a result by doing these rep ranges, obviously going to failure, eccentric control, blah, 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 blah. But these motherfuckers, the only thing that goes up is their strength. So their size remains the same, but they train for hypertrophy, and the only thing that goes up as a metric is their strength. We're doing something wrong. Do you understand? Do you see the irony in all this? So yeah, 4 to 6 reps. 6, again, there is an argument to be made, but I always felt more stimulus to the muscles, more lactic acid buildup, a better pump when I was doing way more than 6 reps. My sweet spot in terms of rep range is between 8 and 16, and I say 8, some exercises I don't really go up to 16 reps, so squats I never go up that high up. But when it comes to bicep curls, for example, or delts, I can go to 16 reps easily, and my muscles feel amazing. And the fatigue that they're talking about, at least it's localized and it's on the targeted muscle group. It's not on my fucking nervous system. And I have one other thing. Connective tissue and joint health and stress, actually connective tissue and joint stress, should be relative to the stimulus that you get, which means you can get a ton of stress on your connective tissue and joints and very little stimulus on the muscles, which is exactly what I just did on this set. Because my muscles, my delts were like, what about it? We just did 4 reps with 100 kilos. That wasn't really hard. I mean, I don't even feel a pump on my shoulders now. But my nervous system and the joints, if I were to do this for years and years and years, they'd be fucked. I just don't understand the sheer lack of critical thinking and logic on those people. But it is what it is. Let's do the second set. continuing down the trend of lifting exactly like them, which is obviously not optimal for muscle growth. It's very good for strength, I'll tell you that. If you train like this, you're training your nervous system, your nervous adaptations are getting stronger. So it's definitely a way to get stronger, not bigger. Not optimally, because you are going to get bigger if you get stronger, and you are going to get stronger if you get bigger, but it's just you're not optimizing for either of those. You're just doing both at the same time. Nothing wrong with it. Just know you're not doing hypertrophy. That's all I'm saying. Right, let's do the second set. 90 kilos. Nope. So 6.5. I think we're gonna go back down to 80. 80 is good enough. Not bad though, not bad. So, last set, we have 80 kilos on. I think this is gonna be a lot more like it. I can finally get some pump up, some blood flowing on my delts, finally. Because the first two sets, guys, again, in terms of hypertrophy, they don't do jack shit. They do some, but you know, optimally wise, they don't do anything. Don't do them. 4 reps, it's just way too low of a rep range to be seeing any significant gains. You will be seeing quite a bit of strength with that because you're training your nervous system, but that's about it pretty much. So with 80 kilos, I think I'm gonna see way more of a difference now. I think I can finally get that pump going on my delts. And then we're gonna go upstairs, we're gonna do biceps, we're gonna do triceps. And then we have side laterals, but we'll get to that in a sec. I'm gonna do dumbbells upstairs for all of these, except triceps, but for biceps and delts, I'm gonna do dumbbells, and I'm just curious to see how much weight I can move now. Because I used to move quite a lot of weight back in the day for those. Obviously technique was off, it was rust, the reps were rust, it wasn't good. But again, we're training like an eagle lifter, so it's gonna have to be what it is anyway. So let's get this out of the way, re-rack all the weight after, which is a pain in the ass, but anyway. Not bad. That was more like it. That was about 8 reps, 8.5. Not bad. That was way more like it. Ideally, again, I would have liked a few more, but then we're gonna have to go back down to 70. And I just don't want to spend all day here because again, we're training like eagle lifters. We're moving a lot of weight, so I don't really want to throw volume on top of weight. Volume is gonna be reserved for next week's workouts, where we start again and we do our normal routine, hypertrophy style, no fucking strength or whatever that is anyway. Alright, so continuing down the trend of training like an idiot. It's essentially what we're doing, isn't it? We're gonna start with the biceps. We're gonna do some curls the way that I used to do them, so dumbbells, and I was just doing like this sort of exercise, which I haven't really done for ages because honestly, it's not really as effective as some of the other ones that I'm doing. And you can so easily cheat with it. You don't even think about it, but you are cheating. So that's why I kind of like stay away from it. The other thing as well is that the stretched position for the bicep, which is this, the bicep is actually doing nothing. All the stretch, because of the gravity, right? Because the dumbbell is there, so it creates kind of like a straight line to the ground. All the stress is on the joint. not really on the muscle itself. So the stress starts as soon as you kind of like start curling it, but then obviously that takes from the stress position where there is no resistance on the actual muscle, which is obviously not good. Now, that's how we trained. That's how idiots train. So ego lifters, sorry guys, with love, but you know you need to train properly. So we're gonna. I think 25 kilos is enough. I don't know. I think in the past I used to do like 20s or 22 and a halves for reps, but 25 kilos should be more than enough, if not just too much. But we're gonna do the first set. If the first set is too heavy, we're gonna go back down in weight on the second set. That's fine by me. So let's start the first one with a 25. Didn't I just say 25? Yeah, 25 kilos and see how it goes. Again, that was like 6 or 7 reps. I honestly cannot understand the guys who would argue that 4 to 6 reps causes less overall fatigue versus higher amounts of reps, because I just did 6 reps with a weight that you clearly saw I went to failure with. My nervous system is just fucking burned out. Like, I could get, and I barely have a pump on my biceps. That's how dumb this is. So usually I do what, 10 kilos, 10 to, not 20, not 10, but 12 and a half kilos per arm. And I obviously go all the way. I take my time, I control the eccentric. And it's a different exercise, I know, but still, it's 12 and a half kilos for about 12 reps is all you need. If I need them, that's all you need. This is what I'm trying to say. You don't really need to be lifting with 25s. They cause more fatigue, guys. They burn your nervous system out. You fry it. I don't understand where these guys are coming from when they say that 4 to 6 reps causes less fatigue. Have you been in a gym? Have you ever lifted weights before? I don't care what it says on paper or what your theory is and assumptions. I don't even care if they are correct on paper. In reality, they're not. Like 6 reps just causes 6 reps to failure. I have to say this, all right? So if you're gonna go to a failure, 6 reps, just, it burns you out, like mentally. And I barely have a pump on my biceps. So what for? What for? It makes no sense. Not to mention what you're doing, the stress that you're putting on your connective tissues and joints is just too much. For what stimulus? And then they will argue mechanical tension this, mechanical tension that. It's like, yeah, good on paper, it's fine, but what about in reality? Why every single bodybuilder in the history of the sport doesn't lift that way? You think people who have all the resources and all the time in the world and their only goal is to get as big as possible, they wouldn't do it if it was actually working? Like natural bodybuilders and enhanced bodybuilders, they both train the same. And it's not 4 to 6 reps. They do more reps and less weight. Guess why? It's just dumb. Right, so after this little rant, we're gonna go back down to 22 and a half kilos because I just didn't see the point of lifting that heavy. I didn't even do 6. Oh, did I? I did like 6.5. Not good enough. You need more, especially for biceps. I'll tell you what feels shit. My elbows. From all the grunting and all the stress that they have to go under just to perform the move. These people, honestly. So 22s, 22 and a half. Still too heavy, in my opinion. Oh. Alright, one more set. I'm gonna go back down to 20s. That should be a bit better. I don't know how many they do here, 7 or 8 per arm. Wasn't too bad, but still. I want to do a few more. We almost fell down there. Isn't this crazy? That I need to do 3 sets to get the same pump that I get midway through my first set. And I don't mean to insult anybody, not really. But I've been on these people's profiles, the people who say that 4 to 6 reps is optimal for hypertrophy. I've been on the profiles, I've seen them. And what I've seen is that some of them are actually very strong, like they move a lot of weight. There's a guy, he moved like 260 kilos for 6 reps Romanian deadlift. I can't do that. That's an impressive lift for anybody's standards, in my opinion. But he's tiny. I'm not insulting him. Like he's in a very good shape, he's very strong. But from a bodybuilding perspective, for as many years as he has been training for, he's small. And he's like a good example because at least he's strong. Like there are other people that I've seen that are just small and weak. And they're telling people that they need to be training with 4 to 6 reps because science and because mechanical tension, because... Why are you so small then? Why is everybody who's big training with more reps than you do and they're bigger than you? Why are you giving advice in the first place? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But look, I'm willing to go a little bit, you know, I'm willing to kind of like extend the branch here and see what they're talking about and actually do it to see. And by doing it, I am telling you, this shit doesn't work. It's not as effective. It's not nearly as effective as the proper hypertrophy training that I'm doing and a lot of other people are doing. And by the way, my training is a combination of other people's training routines. But these people are not small. They're actually very big. And I follow their advice because I don't know better than them. So why not follow their advice and figure it out for myself? But it's crazy. I'm doing a heavy weight for 6 reps, and my muscles are like, there isn't even any blood going through them. Not really. There's no pump. I'm getting a pump from like the first set, like midway through my set. I'm having a pump with half the weight. Explain that to me. And then they say, well, it causes more fatigue. No, this is causing more fatigue. If you're a beginner, maybe you can get away with lifting heavy and not having enough fatigue because your body's not yet strong enough to generate that fatigue. But for me, this is by far more fatigue inducing than half the weight and double the reps. I'll go for double the reps, half the weight all day long. Same volume, same overall volume per set. Better results in my opinion, and less fatigue as my body doesn't then have to recover not just the damage, but the muscle damage, but also the connective tissue damage and joint damage, the pain that I feel on my joints for lifting that heavy, and my nervous system burnout. It just doesn't work like that, guys. Just honestly, you feel free to debate me all you want. It just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. 4 to 6 reps is good for size and strength at the same time, which means you're not optimizing for either of those. You're just doing both of them at the same time, which is fine if this is what you want to do. Just don't go about telling people that this is hypertrophy. It's not. It's just not. All right, so this is another exercise that I used to do back in the day. I'm gonna have to put a bit more weight. Let's go 14 plates. Let's see how that moves. So, overhead tricep extensions, something like that. I don't know what it is. I was just doing them for the lols. But no, this is actually a good exercise, and it did feel very good. It's just after a while, progressive overload was becoming a bit of an issue, and more specifically, other than the progressive overload issue, my joints, my elbow joints were not very happy with me, which I guess then my body compensated by putting more pressure on the shoulder joints, which then made them not very happy with me. So it was kind of like an exercise that I had to push aside, because in my opinion there are other exercises that are a bit better, at least for me, for my body. But yeah, it's just one of them. I haven't done this for a while, so we're going to do the first set, see how it moves. Add more weight, we'll see about that. But yeah, again, ego lifting style, so we're not really going to be going all the way back and stretching those triceps. We're going to be cutting it short, because ego lifting, half reps. You know the deal by now. But yeah, let's get that out of the way, and then we can do some lateral raises, and then we're done. Nope. Don't know how many reps that was. That was more than 6 for sure. So I'm happy with the weight. Still quite a bit of grunting though, but yeah, that's all right. We're gonna do 2 more, and then lateral raises, which is gonna be with dumbbells, which is gonna be fun, because we're literally just gonna do this. And yeah, I haven't done that for a while either. I usually do full ROM laterals, or I do cable. And I just kind of like, you've seen the videos, you know what I mean. So yeah, let's do 2 more here, get that out of the way. Do the side lats, which I think is also going to be pretty fun, because ego lifting, we can move a lot of weight. It's not as effective. I've said this like a billion times by now. I hope you guys realize that this is really not as effective as training properly for size. It's just not. Ah, not bad. Right down here, some side lats, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, nah.